and welcome to another episode of I Guess I'll Do It with Penthouse, a comedians podcast where I talk to mostly comedians about comedy. Today, I have a very special guest. I'm very excited he's on. It's been a long time since we've crossed paths, but he has a new special out. It's called The Salesman, and today I have Greg Warren. What's up, man?
Hey, Pat. Good to see you, buddy. How's it going, man?
You too. What's going on?
Just hanging out here in St. Louis.
St. Louis?
Yeah.
That's your hometown, still based out of there?
I am. Absolutely.
Nice. I've been to St. Louis twice this year. Actually, I was in St. Louis twice in the first 5 weeks of the year.
Really? Yeah.
I did. I was with Dan Cummins at the pageant or the Uptown?
Oh, cool. There? Yeah, pageant. Yeah, it's great, man.
Yes, yeah. I was with Dan Cummins at the pageant for 2 shows, and then I plugged my shows at Helium on those shows, and came back to headline the Side Room at Helium 2 weeks later.
Nice, man. Sounds like a good
and
system.
It worked out well.
Yeah.
I plugged my show to Dan's fans, and people came out. So it was very nice. Very, very nice.
That's great, buddy.
I love that city.
Yeah, me too, man.
That's one of the ones I've been to a lot.
Yeah, are you in Philly right now?
Suburbs, but yes. Yeah. Philly, yeah, essentially. Congrats on the new special, man.
Oh, thanks a lot, buddy.
Very funny.
Oh, thanks, man.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. Now, we'll get into the whole backstory here in a second, but we'll just dive into it right now. We will hold off 1 second. I'd like to, you and I met at, okay, this is the funny part about this story. We met in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, man, I remember that, yeah.
What is the name of that club? Is it JRs or Juniors? I've never known.
Juniors, yeah.
Juniors.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because it doesn't say Juniors. It's just a JR with an S, maybe an apostrophe.
Yep, I think there's an ampersand in there somewhere. And
yeah. A crescent moon.
Yeah.
I've done that club many times, and I never fucking knew the name.
No, it's Junior, because the guy, that's what the nickname was. There was like 4 owners at one time, Doug and Debbie and Junior and his wife. And I think Doug and Debbie bowed out, and then it was Junior's wife. And then Junior sold. I think some magician owns it now or something. Yeah,
I heard that as well. It's like a comedy and magic club, and I was like, how many people want magic in Erie?
There's a couple different ways to look at that. You might, if you live in Erie, man, in the wintertime, you might be in the mood for a little magic, man. You might be praying for some magic. I don't know.
Something. I want to disappear from here. That was a fun weekend, though. I remember that was a great weekend. It was my first time seeing you and working together. And then we went to an Erie Seawolves baseball game. I remember that.
Yeah, that's crazy because my old boss owns the Seawolves. When I worked at Procter Gamble, Fernando Aguirre, he's the owner of the Seawolves.
No shit.
Yeah. That's how we got those tickets, man.
I don't even remember that part of the story.
Because we had really good seats. He had reached out to me.
We did. We were right behind home plate.
Yeah. He reached out to me on Twitter and was like, "Yeah, you want to go to a game?" And he's really cool, man. He's like checked in a couple times. He was a big deal at Procter Gamble, and now he owns the Seawolves, and I think he's got part of the Myrtle Beach Waves, which is a Cub, I think, single A team or something like that.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I was just in Oklahoma City 2 weeks ago, and have you done Bricktown?
I haven't. No, I've never done it.
It's a nice club.
Yeah.
It's right next to a baseball stadium, but the team was away all weekend.
Okay. Yeah, man.
But I love to check out a game anywhere I can.
That may be like one of maybe 3 minor league baseball games I've ever been to. I went to.
Oh, they're so fun.
Yeah, there's one by you that my brother took me to, the Trenton Thunder, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I've never been there, but I grew up going to Wilmington Blue Rocks games and Reading Phillies.
Okay.
So minor league games are so fun, man. They're cheaper and everybody gets a foul ball.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it really does work out.
Well, everybody gets a foul. Is that because like minor league baseball players just can't square up the baseball?
Like, I remember going to 2 games and getting foul balls, and it's like it just always stuck with me that like some of them minimal attendance.
Yeah.
And it's just like so many foul balls. It's like everybody gets one.
I got
it. Yeah.
I thought maybe the minor league hitters just couldn't seem to,
No. I saw Johnny Damon when he was on the Blue Rocks before he went to They were for the Royals.
Royals was that where Damon broke in. I know that. It was he was like one of those 10 players who wound up being all-stars and the Royals kept for about a week. Yeah.
I still have his autographed ball that I got when he was at Wilmington Blue Rock.
Yeah, Beltran was one of those guys.
Yep.
Greinke. I'm trying to think.
Carlos Beltran, I believe, I'm almost certain it was him, had an inside the park home run against the Phillies on the Royals, and I was at that game. It was a Father's Day Sunday. Yeah. That was cool to see that.
Yeah, I bet, man.
All right, let's try to get on the stand-up page here. We'll probably come back to baseball at some point. I know it. So I want to get back to your story. You and I met in Erie, and we had both been doing stand-up for a while, but I didn't know you before that, but I've heard your name. So you are from St. Louis, and you started there, right?
Not really. I mean, I had sort of I don't know, I had several starts, but I did it a little bit in college.
Okay, where'd you go?
Columbia, Missouri, University of Missouri. Which is in the center of the state, in between KC and St. Louis. And there was a comedy club there for a long time called Deja Vu. And there's I was on the wrestling team at Missouri, and one of the guys, I was, like maybe a lot of us, I was obnoxious and just had no outlet for comedy. So I was, constantly annoying people, being loud and putting on makeshift performances, at our parties.
Let's take one step back. Were you into stand-up when you were a kid, or comedy in general?
No, I mean, comedy in general. I liked, I thought the movies probably were the things that I was aware of stand-up, but I hadn't seen much of it. And there was an Eddie Murphy, I think it was just Eddie Murphy or something like that. I can't remember what the name of the album was. It wasn't Raw, but it was the one before that. But that thing, when I was a sophomore in high school, my buddy gave me that, and I thought it was unbelievable. Like, it was on. We listened to it on a Walkman cassette, and I listened to that all the time. But I wasn't like, I wasn't aware of many comedians, and I wasn't into it. I was a big fan of a lot of movies that were funny. I'm trying to think of some of Midnight Run was one. I like The Jerk. There's a movie called Tin Men that is still one of my favorite movies. And it's just hilarious. And it's got a bunch of old comics in it. Like Jackie Gale and Shecky Green, those guys are in it, I think.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's a really good movie.
Tin Men, I'll check that out. My mind just went to Tin Cup, and I immediately
great movie too, man. I was living
but not what you were talking about.
No, I was living in Houston when they shot that in Tin Cup down there, and another great movie. But yeah, I started doing comedy. I like this guy on the wrestling team worked at the comedy club as a bartender, and they had a contest, and he just signed me up for it, and I went in the contest, and I won the contest.
Well, did you have material prepared?
Yeah, I had material prepared. I mean, it was like, I hope nobody has a record of that material, but I had stuff prepared. I think my cousins used to like make these tapes, like funny tapes, and I was kind of doing a version of what they were doing, probably, actually doing some of what they were doing, ashamedly so. But and then I did it, I was pretty busy with wrestling when I was in college. So I did it a handful of times. I'd come home a little bit and do it at the St. Louis Funny Bone. That was back in the heyday of the Funny Bone, and they had it, open mic, and I did it, but only a handful of times. And then when my first job was in Houston, and there was a club called the Laugh Stop down there, and that, I did.
I never worked there, but I've heard. I feel like when I first started, I heard a lot about that club because a lot of comics recorded albums there.
Yeah, Mitch recorded. Mitch recorded like his first big CD there, and
Strategic Row Locations, and I think Mitch Hedberg. You just said Mitch. Greg Giraldo recorded "Good Day to Cross the River" there. I think
that makes sense. Yeah,
I'm almost positive that's where he recorded that.
Yeah, so they had a pretty good open mic scene down there, and I was doing it on and off. I was like, I'd do it for a while and then not do it because I had a pretty good career going, and then I got transferred to Ohio in like 96 or something after 5 years in Houston. And those years in Ohio, for the most part, I was, especially the last 3 years, I was really doing it with a lot of regularity.
Mm-hmm. What was your day job?
I worked for Procter and Gamble. Which is a lot about what, the specials got a lot of material about when I worked for Procter and Gamble. Yeah, I sold Jif peanut butter and Pringles potato chips and Hawaiian Punch and Sunny Delight.
Big fan of all of them.
Yeah, man. Folgers coffee, Fisher nuts. What else, man? Hawaiian Punch. I said that. Crisco shortening in oil. Yeah.
So Houston is where you really cut your teeth in the beginning.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't think I had that. Like most comics, like I did it. I got on stage and I knew I'd never do anything else. And I liked it a lot, but I was a slow starter, and I had this career that was going well. I was moving up in the company and making a lot of money, and I felt like I was just split for a while. So I was with Procter and Gamble for 10 years before I quit the day job and was like, I'm going to go full-time comedy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who else was coming up in the Houston scene with you? Anybody we would know?
No, I mean Ralphie May.
Oh yeah,
Ralphie
absolutely.
was around then. Guy named Sean Rouse who passed away. I don't know, 5 years ago or no more than that.
I saw Sean with David Tell. We worked together.
Yep. Yeah. Sean Rouse was around there. A guy named Brian Hersey. Yep. Matt Kirsch is still around. There's some guys, Rob Mungle, Ben Mowbray, Jason Lee, a bunch of guys that Andy Huggins is a guy that's, he was a contemporary of Bill Hicks. So he was like one of the older guys. When
I know the name, but I don't know who that is, I absolutely know that name.
Andy's he's still doing it. He's really, really funny, man. Andy's great and a good friend of mine. Yeah. A lot of those guys, have gotten out of it. I was I was after when they had the Texas Outlaw with Bill Hicks and all that stuff. But I had
Pineapple and
Jimmy Pineapple was down there when I was there. I saw those guys, but I wasn't part of that movement. I came pretty far after that. Yeah, that movement. I was there in the, 91 to 96, and those guys are probably late 80s. I think I did see Hicks live one time.
You got to see Hicks?
Yeah, at the Laugh Stop, and I was like. Like I said, I didn't know much about stand-up comedy, and Bill must have died pretty soon after that. But
he was 93, I believe.
Yeah, so it was 91. I just moved down there, and I was doing the open mics, and I think it was Ralphie was like, "This guy's really good. You should go see him this weekend." And I was like, "All right." So I just went. I didn't know who he was, and it was amazing. It was a great show. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Bill Hicks is one of those guys that, we all have our Carlins and our Pryors and everything. But like in high school and college, I worship.
Oh, really?
Man. Like, oh, yeah. Big time. And I know a lot of people. I've met a lot of Texas comics that worked with him and knew him.
Yeah.
And I knew Ron Schock.
Sure. Ron Schock was, man, I remember.
Yep.
I was
incredible storyteller.
Oh, yeah. And
yep.
One time, Andy and I were Andy Huggins and I were having dinner before the show at like Boston Market or something. And we happened to run into Schock, and he sits down. Just because I was with Andy, I was fine at that point. So Schock sits down and he tells us some crazy story about being airlifted off of a cruise ship because of him. I don't know what it was, but he's just always telling stories. Me and Andy,
always,
yeah.
He had one of the quickest. Just like a perfect joke, but it was true. And you always, as a comic, you want to get your jokes succinct and to the point. And I remember him just saying, "I was a successful jewel thief, until one day I wasn't." And that's worded so perfectly. Like I was a successful thief until one day I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I remember laughing so hard at that, and the crowd wasn't on board. And I'm like, that is such a perfectly worded joke. All right, so you're in Houston now, and you have these other comics you're in the scene with.
Yeah.
When did you go back to St. Louis?
Well, I got transferred to Ohio in like 96 or something, and so I spent 5 years in Ohio doing. That was cool because it was, there was Go Bananas there. There was a club called
Cincinnati
Jokers in Dayton that was really good to me. and then the Funny Bone in Columbus. So I was like almost every week of the month I was hosting at one of those clubs because everything's so close.
Oh, nice. So you're at this point, you're like in it now.
Yeah, I'm doing the day
you're
job, and
getting paid
it was a
work and-
high level day job, But the last few years I was like getting done with that, and then I'd either drive right up to Dayton or go up to Columbus or stay in Cincinnati. And yeah, I was way in it, and I was trying to sort of work a deal where maybe they would transfer me to New York or LA, so I could continue to. I was afraid to leave the job, and
I get that.
Finally,
did you push for that? Like, were you asking?
Yeah, I was asking, and they were close, man. They were really, really close to it. Almost happened a couple of times, and then it didn't happen. And then I don't know. I kind of realized I had to make a jump. I didn't want to wait anymore. I was 33 years old at the time. I was like, man, you can't have a safety net all the time. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to jump. I'm going to do this full time, and more than likely I'll have to go back to selling Pringles or whatever, selling something. So I left in 2001, and that year I pretty much lived on the road. I had some stuff in Ohio, but I would stay mostly in my parents' house. If I
in St. Louis,
yeah. If I had a night, but for the most part, I had money because I had worked for 10 years. So, I just get a hotel room for a few days if I was on the road in the middle. But I probably worked like 50 out of the 52 weeks on the road. I pretty much, just drove around to places. And then if I needed to get a hotel, I'd get a hotel. If I needed to stay with friends, I would, or I'd stay with my parents in St. Louis. That was pretty fun.
I love that shit. I have done the same thing. I still have to do it sometimes. Yeah. Like I'm staying with my sister next month on some gigs in Washington State. Like, I get hotels all the time, but sometimes the couch hopping, like I fucking love the whole experience of it.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool time, man. And then I think right after that, I got like sort of at the end of that run, I got Montreal and got a little bit of movement, a little bit of juice, and I got a manager and an agent. I lived in LA for 5 years after that, and then lived in. I moved back to St. Louis after those 5 years. I don't know. I felt like I was stagnating a little bit in LA. I thought my writing was like. I thought I needed to be away from LA to create something. So I lived in St. Louis for 5 years, then went to New York for 4 years, then moved back to St. Louis. So.
Oh wow! Okay. Yeah. Now a lot of comics have come from St. Louis, right?
Yeah. There's some good ones. Yeah, I mean, going way back to like Red Fox and LaWanda Page, Dick Gregory, but
okay, that's way further back than my mind knew of, but that's
more
awesome.
recent to Kathleen Madigan, Lavelle Crawford, Nikki Glazer, Tommy Johnigan.
All those guys. I sat next to Lavelle on a flight one time, and I just never told him I was a comic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I kind of kicking myself.
Yeah, he would have been cool. He's a great guy, man. He's really.
I've met him and seen him when he came through Philly here and did Helium, but we were next to each other on a plane one time, and I was like, I'm just gonna let him do his thing, and I'm gonna do mine.
Cedric, the Entertainers from St. Louis, Guy.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, Guy and Joe Torre are both from St. Louis.
Yep, worked with both of those many times.
There's a girl, I think she was in Philly for a long time that went to my high school. I don't know her real name, but I think her stage name was B Flat.
Yes. Oh God. Yeah.
She went to my high school actually. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. She was around a lot when I started at a black comedy club. Yeah. And I'm bringing this up because you did Coming to the Stage.
Yeah. BT. I think it was when I was living in LA. I was definitely living in LA. So probably 2004 or something. And I would come home back then, I would still go out and I was still a feature act. So I would just go out or a low level headliner. So I just drive from LA out across the country for like 6 to 8 weeks and then go back to LA. And so I'd hang out in St. Louis in between gigs or something. And I was going by the club during the day, and my buddy Matt Behrens, who runs the Funny Bone, there was like stuff going on. I'm like, what's happening up here? He's like, oh, they're having a BET tryout for, there's some comedy show. And I was like, hey man, you think I could get on that? He's like, yeah, I don't think you heard me. It's BET. I'm like, nah. At the time, one of the clubs that I went up at a lot in LA was, mostly Hispanic and African American crowds. So I was like, I think I could do it. And it was great, man. The people were cool. I had to do something during the day. Then they brought me back at night. And then they called me a couple of months later, said, yeah, you're on the show. And it was like,
it was
fun, man.
Yeah, I remember that was a big thing when I first started because a handful of Philly comics I know were on it, and a bunch of New York City comics were on it. And I did auditions for BET too, which sounds hilarious saying that. I haven't thought of that in forever, but I absolutely did. And I laughed out loud when I saw that on your bio, but I was like, that's something awesome.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, and
all that stuff was so integral to the first 2 years of my career.
Really?
I mean, I started stand-up before Helium in Philly even opened. And for like the first 3 years of my career, for the most part, all I knew were black audiences and BET comics. And yeah.
The black comics were so cool to me during that whole process. Everybody was.
Me too, man. Oh my God, me too. And also those crowds, like, just be funny fast, which is such a life lesson.
Yeah.
Those crowds, and like, you know what I mean? Like, that sounds horrible. We'll probably edit this part out. I don't mean to say those crowds.
I mean, I don't care. I mean, people love
black audiences taught me to be fucking funny within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Say something.
Black audiences, I love when people like, well, funny's funny, comedy's comedy. It's all the same. I'm like, no, it's not. Black audiences are there's a slight difference between doing a stand-up show for white audiences. I can't exactly say what it is. I think you have to be a little more animated usually. I think usually your funniest stuff works with both audiences, but as a rule, I think
absolutely
you need to be a little bit more animated. And I think I don't think black audiences love a lot of like wordplay, you need to be real. And they are, if you are funny, they are the most generous audiences you can have. If you're not, it's not fun.
That will stick. That will stick with you for weeks.
Yeah. You'll think about it for a long time. It's not personal either. I've seen like,
oh no, not
they
at
just
all.
kind of like one time I was at a club and it was like a mixed audience, and like there was some guy on stage and it wasn't his night, and there was a group of people in the back. There were black people, and they just kind of started talking to each other. And the doorman was like, "Hey, you guys need to be quiet." And they were like, well, he ain't funny. Like it wasn't personal. They were just like, "What do you mean I'm be quiet?" I mean, I did watch him, and he's not funny. So what are you talking about? like this guy's not funny. That's we know what funny is. This guy's not it.
This guy sucks, so we can talk.
Yeah, it kind of like that. It was like, well, what do you expect us to do, man? He's not funny,
So you're in Ohio now, but you're living in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah,
but you're driving all over the country.
Yeah,
which is so fun. I'm a big fan. Do you still enjoy working the road like that? Do you like road trips and long car rides?
Yeah, certainly less than I did. I mean, I love the road, but I would, if I'm going to do like I don't know, I'm getting old, because if I'm going to do like a long road trip, I'd rather have somebody with me so I know they can pick up some of the driving if I get tired. But yeah, I still like, I'm driving 4 hours tomorrow. That's nothing. It's fine.
Oh no, that's anything less than 7 hours to me is nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah. If you're a comic, that's nothing. As I'm getting older, though, it's it used to be no big deal at all. Now I'm like, all right, man, I don't really want to drive 8 hours and do a show that night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where are you going tomorrow?
Bloomington, Indiana. The
Comedy Attic?
Yeah. Great club, man. It's
nice.
Really, really good club.
I have a gig in York, Pennsylvania, which is less than 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
So that is phenomenal. That's like literally up the street for a comic.
Yeah, that's great.
So I was growing up, I was obsessed with Comedy Central, and in grade school and high school, I loved Premium Blend and Comedy Central Presents.
Yeah.
And you were on Premium Blend. Who else was on your episode with you?
It was Owen Smith, great comic, who is currently, he does a lot of stuff behind the camera, I think he's running running. He ran a couple of sitcoms, I think. Great comic too, man. And I forget the other two. I'm going to feel bad because I know it's it might have been Greg Morton. I don't know that though.
Oh,
He might have been Greg Morton. I remember a ton of people because back then they would shoot the whole season in like a week, so you just hang out. Yeah. Premium Blend, I shot. I mean, it was. Who else was on? I can't remember. There was a girl that I don't think is doing stand up anymore. When I did Comedy Central Presents, it was the same season. Me and Josh Blue had the same audience. You share one audience, it's like one guy goes up and the next guy. And then
Josh is great.
Yeah, that season.
Denver guy.
Yeah, really funny dude, man. That season, it was Jamie Lissow, Pete Lee, Big J Okerson.
I was there that week. Holy shit!
Really?
Because I was there the night Pete Lee recorded his. Because I was there for Mike Vecchione.
I think was Vecchione that same time. Yeah.
And you and Mike Vecchione are both wrestlers.
Yeah, Mike's a good friend of mine. He's one of the funniest guys you'll ever watch.
Funniest guys
and a great dude.
He's out of Philly, and Mike was monumental to me my first couple of years.
That's a good guy to have, man.
He's been on the podcast, and me and Mike go way, way back.
Yeah, it's funny. Yep. Mike,
this too, when I was an open micer, and he took me under his wing a little bit. Him and Jay Okerson.
Yeah, that's right. Big J's from Philly. Mike has a special out. Both of our specials are on YouTube on Nate Bargatze's channel. So
we were getting there. Yeah.
So Mike did one. I think his came out like a month before mine. It's really funny. It's so good. Yeah.
Nate, I remember Nate from, 17, 18 years ago too. And it's funny, I was just at the Greenville, South Carolina Comedy Zone last month.
Yeah, I was there.
And then Nate was at the arena up the street the exact same weekend. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Nate,
I mean, literally, you can see the arena from outside the comedy club on the sidewalk.
Yeah. I was just there actually a couple weeks ago. And it's
Greenville?
Yeah, I liked it.
Nice. How was it? Good weekend?
Yeah, it was great, man.
Yeah. It's a cool room.
Yeah.
I do the Harrisburg one a lot.
Oh yeah, how's that, man?
Nice. I like the Harrisburg a lot. That's a less than a 90-minute drive, so that's another comic stream there.
Oh yeah.
I headline there every fall, and it's just right. It's 70 miles up a highway. You can't beat it.
Right.
But yeah, when did you meet Nate? You guys probably go way back.
Yeah, I mean, we did a thing together. It was for country music television. They had like a comedy series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Called Comedy Stage or something. And Nate and I were both on it. We recorded in Nashville. He was living in New York at the time, and I was living in St. Louis. And he was a young kid and, obviously very talented. And then when I moved to New York, I hung out with him a little bit. I was in New York. He left before I did. I think he moved. He was in LA for a while and then in Nashville for a while.
I remember when he was in New York because I was there for a year in 2011. And so I saw him there a lot, but I knew him before that from when he would do like Rascals and Cherry Hill and some other stuff around here. Did you ever do that room?
I did. My old agent used to work there, man. He told me some crazy stories about that place. He said it was like kind of like weren't they under federal investigation or something for like some sort of stock fraud or something like that? Or
I heard that, but it was in a hotel, so it may have been the hotel and not the comedy club.
I think it was like a boiler room type situation thing. Yeah, from what I hear.
Yeah, I've heard stuff too, but I really do not know the details. But I mean, I just remember I was doing guest spots and getting my first hosting gigs at the time, and I hosted for Nate and Jay Okerson and Kurt Metzger and Joe DeRosa and all those Philly guys because they would let me do time on their shows when they came through town.
Yeah, is Kurt a Philly guy too?
Jersey, but starting in the Philadelphia comedy scene. Yeah. What do you got on your wall behind you? I'm a big fan of what's happening back there.
These are all I'm sure you'll figure out the theme. That's Warren Zevon. That is Warren G. Harding.
Warren G. Harding.
Warren Moon. Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp.
Warren Beatty. Leslie Ann Warren. Chief
is
Justice Earl
fantastic.
Warren Haynes from the Allman Brothers. Behind me, there you go. There's Warren Haynes, and then the movie poster for War and Peace.
That's fantastic. I love it. Your bio, and I didn't know this because I always do research for my guests. I know them and I know their stand up, but I watch a couple clips and read the website and everything. West Point.
Yeah, my first year of college, I went to West Point.
Yeah. So what happened there? What was your tell us about that?
Well, I got recruited to go there for wrestling. I was good at that, and I don't know why I went. I think a mix of it's silly reasons, like one, I think I was too lazy to write essays, like when you were supposed to, and then I was like, well, I'll just do this. This is like one thing that it wasn't too late to write essays for the United States Military Academy. I had a lot of friends in I went to a high school. There's a lot of kids that were going to like sort of, fancy schools on the East Coast and stuff like that. And I was like, I think I was maybe trying to compete with them or, impress people. And when you say the United States Military Academy wants you to go there, people are impressed, especially adults are like, oh, that's people get out of there. They have their lives are set and it's an honor, and everybody was impressed by it. My dad was impressed by it. And I think I just felt like, okay, you do this one thing and you'll be impressive. I don't think I gave much thought. Oh yeah. I was in journalism class, and this girl, Liz Miller, who was beautiful. I told her that the coach at West Point was recruiting me, and she was like, wow, that's pretty cool. That was the biggest reason right there. Nothing happened between Liz and I, of course. And she wasn't ecstatic about it, but she did say it was cool. And I was like, well, Liz thinks it's pretty cool. And she's extremely pretty. So
we're going
I should go to war. Yeah. So yeah, I stayed the whole first year, which, most people, when they stay the first year, they stay. I made it through the whole thing. And then I just sort of, I don't know. I realized I didn't really want a career in the military at that point. You're such a kid. I was 17 years old.
That's so young.
And it seems, you go to school for 4 years and then you owe them 5 years. That's 9 years. And at that point I was like, well, I probably won't live past that. You don't think that's like an eternity when you're 17. I was like, and then if I'm there for 9 years, chances are I'll just stay for another 16 and retire. And now I'm just deciding my whole life right now. And I don't think I want to do that. And I just
at 17.
Yeah. I didn't want to, I didn't want to do it. And I left and went to Missouri. And at that time, even then, it's funny, Pat, like I was turned to humor a lot because it was a very, very tough situation. And, I was always trying to make my classmates laugh. I would do impressions of the upperclassmen or, the NCOs yelling at us, and, they'd all laugh. And I was like, I think maybe I want to be a comedian, like even back then.
So there was some seeds planted there.
I think so. Like I went home and I was like, I don't know if I want to go to college. I think maybe I want to move out to LA and become a comedian. And I just didn't have the courage or the kind of, my dad was like, well, do it. You're on your own. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like I just didn't have the courage. I was so used to structure that I was like, I didn't have the courage at 17 years old to move out to LA and become a comedian. And God knows what I would have got into. And so literally like 2 days later, the Missouri coach showed up at my house and was like, hey, I want to offer you a scholarship to go wrestle at Missouri. And I did. So, I turned to structure.
Back to structure.
Yeah, I did that twice, and I some of it I regret, some of it I don't, because at that point it was probably a good idea because I was such a kid and so lost. I would have probably gone out to LA and God knows what would have happened. I had no money, and you make poor decisions. And then, but when I got out of college, I was
do that now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I do that now. I got out of college and I was, I was messing around with comedy then. And when I got out of college, I thought I moved to Chicago for about a minute and thought I'd become a comedian. And I ran back to structure. I was just so used to wrestling and, this just day in, day out stuff that's when I'm a little disappointed that I didn't just try to become a comic, but I didn't have it in me. So, I took that job at Procter Gamble. But, I wonder, because I think I started to get, I don't know, I think when anything can happen at any time and there's no rules, especially now in the business. But I feel like if you want the sort of structured Hollywood, if you want Hollywood to be on your side as a man, I think it helps when you kind of hit your stride about 35, mid 30s. If you're kind of hitting your stride and you're like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing here. And, you're good, but you're also really, really, and I think I started hitting that when I was like 45, and it makes sense because I was selling potato chips and peanut butter for 10 years. So I have some regrets, but I also don't, because I had a wealth of experiences in that. And I wrote about all the stuff that I did there.
Okay. I got to cut you off there because I want to talk about this. How old were you when you quit the Procter & Gamble
33.
job?
Yeah.
Okay. I am 38.
Yeah.
And I have been bartending at the same job. It will be 20 years in February. And I love it though.
Yeah, man.
It's a double-edged sword. I absolutely love my job. I love my coworkers. I love my regulars. But I mean, every day I think of pulling the trigger. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm lucky enough.
You start. Yeah, and they're flexible about gigs. You leave whenever you want.
Well, okay. I'm in a position where I just bartend Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's a fucking comic stream.
Yeah, man, that's good. Yeah, Are they hiring? I'll take it.
I mean, it leaves all my weekends free to travel, and then every now and then I have to take a Monday or a Wednesday off to fly. But I mean, I have to stop and pinch myself and remind myself that I have two awesome jobs, and that they both allow me to have each other.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to. I mean, and you're can't wait to see you, man. You were a good comic 8 years ago when I worked with you. So God knows where you're at now. I mean, that's I don't. Part of me questions it because I question everything, but I this last special was based on my experiences at Procter & Gamble, so maybe I wouldn't have had anything to write about if
No, it's totally true. I mean, I write something down from work every single day. Actually, like this is shit that happened just this week.
Yeah.
Both these pieces of paper were shit that happened this week that I will write. And actually,
what happened, man?
On the specials, like it's written on the back.
Hold on, what was that, man? Was that shrimp?
Oh yeah, that was the. That was really good. That was a. Wait, hold on. Which one did I just show up?
I saw some appetizer on there. It looked pretty good, man.
Yeah. Oh, they're always good. That was a seafood scallop risotto entree, which was fantastic. So you asked what happened. I had a horrible table yesterday, and they were just ordering shit that doesn't exist, like shit that's not on the menu, and like they were asking for like what kind of iced coffee do we have? I'm like, I have decaf or regular, and then another woman tried to order a pina colada, and I was like, I'm sorry, we don't have a frozen drink machine, and she goes, why not? I'm like, we fucking don't. Like what? How is this conversation gone past? We don't have that.
Yeah,
like I'm sorry, I can't do that. But then she had to investigate, like why. I said no. Hey, do you have a spicy chicken sandwich? No. Okay. Why would there ever be a follow-up question?
Listen, Pat, I mean, I love you, buddy, but I'm kind of on her side. I mean, why don't you have a spicy chicken sandwich?
All right. Well,
I mean, it's
Greg Warren, everybody. This. So yeah. I do want to write a book eventually. I mean, I have hundreds and hundreds of bullet points written down, and a lot of my stand-up is about bartending and waiting tables, which is so awesome because after shows, men and women of all ages will come up to me and be like, oh my God, I loved your restaurant stuff. I bartended. My daughter bartends. My husband's a server. Like, it's so relatable, and I love I love bringing people together for the bartending and service stuff. And then I love when the wait staff is like, it really, we really appreciate it when you give us a shout out. And we sometimes people are like, I think it really helps us.
Yeah. If you pitch that book, man, I think that would be a great book. Yeah.
Not yet. I have so much half-assed stuff written. I have a special coming out later this year.
Oh, good, man.
So that's going to be my project after that.
Right.
I mean, I have so much, like I said, I have so much bullet points written. It's a matter of sitting down and tying all this shit together and writing out in longer form.
What's the special, man? When's it coming out? And what is it on?
It will be on YouTube. Yeah. It's all self-produced and it's called Live from the Day Job. And I recorded it where I bartend in the ballroom.
No way, man. Oh, that's great. Yeah. A bunch of your regulars and employees and stuff come.
Dude, I sold out 3 nights at my in the ballroom where I bartend. It's a country club, it's a public golf course, and I filmed Friday and Saturday and put them together in the one. And it's called Live from the Day Job. It's already done.
That's great, buddy. Yeah, that's great. I think you got something there, man. Yeah.
I hope so. That's the plan. Yeah, it's really cool. I took a lot of. Okay, it's 55 minutes, and about 10 of it are about the job. I was like, I can't have 30 minutes just on bartending for half of it, so I do like 45 minutes of normal stand-up, and then my last 10 are all about working there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a believer in that. Like, it's funny.
Normal stand-up. Yeah. Just regular material. I don't know why that.
Yeah. I mean, this special, though.
Is there such a thing?
Yeah. The last 2 special, like the special that I'm promoting now, it's funny, like it's gotten a little bit of, media stuff. And it's like Vulture wrote a piece on it and the New York Times wrote a piece on it. And they're all like, he did an hour special about nothing but peanut butter, And I was like, and we kind of almost pitched that because I felt like that's interesting to people. But in reality, it's about 15 minutes about peanut butter. It's about 15 minutes about peanut butter and 10 minutes about other stuff I sold. And then, 35 minutes about other stuff. But,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't want to be put put in a corner and be like, hey, it's the peanut butter guy.
Well, I think we kind of do. And I'm not so sad about it because I think had I not been the peanut butter guy, I would have been the guy that nobody cares about. But yeah. And then I did one on farming about 3 years before. And that was, it was 20 minutes on farm. Yeah, maybe 25, 30 if you have a loose definition of what's about farming. So yeah, I'm kind of a fan of that where if there's a central piece in the special, that's what you talk about, but it doesn't mean that you have to get rid of everything that's not strictly about that.
Absolutely.
Because it's about you, it's yeah.
Oh, totally. And you know what? Let me ask you this. If you had this within a special too, I have 3 albums. But this is my first special to be put out, where I had a whole production crew film it and all. And do you ever forget something or just think of something better the week after? Already in the can.
What are you talking about? Yeah. You want to finish a joke, film it.
I headlined, I filmed 2 of the 3 shows that I headlined, and they were all great. The special's fantastic. I love it. But then, a week later, I'm looking over my notes, and I'm like, I forgot to do 1 and 2.
Yeah.
How did I forget these? And those would have killed those nights. And I got to tell you, man, no going back.
I think you got to refilm. You got to reshoot.
I think I should. I think I should have all those people re-buy tickets, or at least for one show.
Yeah.
It's always that's happened to me when I recorded my albums too. It's like no matter how well it went, how great it was, it's awesome. But you're like, shit, I forgot the one tag, or I forgot that one little guy that goes here.
Yeah, I think more often it's, for me at least, it's like 2 weeks after you shoot it, you figure out a better way to do it. It's just
for me, it's like next day.
Yeah,
because I can't sleep. I'm like, it's excitement, nervous energy. And it's like I forgot that. I totally forgot that. How did I forget that? I did it every single show last week. Last night I recorded, and that tag was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
How much are you on the road the rest of the year?
I've been out a lot. I got a gig this week, and then the next 3 weeks, it's pretty easy. It's like, a one night here, like I'm doing like a corporate gig in St. Louis and then, a little gig somewhere in Missouri. But once I hit mid-August, it's pretty much every week for the rest of the year. And then the first 3 months of next year. So, it's like, it's a pretty
nice.
Yeah. I mean, now some of those are just, a corporate gig for one night or something, but yeah, it's pretty much solid work for about 9 months starting in August. So, or something like that. Yeah. But I the next few weeks are real light, and I'm going to like enjoy it and then just try to get in a little bit of a writing rhythm is,
Nice.
And then I don't know, man, there's like just today, man, I had it just, when you're on the road forever, everything gets neglected. I'm like, okay, I need a new garbage disposal. I got the sink's leaking. The doors on my closets have fallen off. Like it's all this stuff. So I had these. I mean, I can't do any of that stuff. So I hired somebody to do.
Makes two of us.
Yeah, but yeah, I just like that's all I've been doing for the last few days. Is like, all right, let's get that handled today. I had to get license plates put on my car, and here's how much of a man I am. I felt a giant sense of accomplishment in that I didn't take the car to a mechanic to get the license plates put on.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, I feel like a man if I put windshield washer.
Yeah, I did that the other day, man. I was with another comic, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And I put the windshield washer fluid. I felt like, yeah, like, I mean, I could probably make a car now. I don't know.
Look, I'm not trying to one-up you.
I think you are. Yeah, I think you are.
But when we're done this, I 100% have to put Drano in the sink.
Yeah. Woo. That's, yeah.
But it's so fun. It's so cathartic because you pour the Drano in, then you wait 15 minutes, then you have to put hot water, and you're like, is this going to work?
Yeah.
I think it's an exciting process.
It is. Yeah, it's a mystery, man. It's a mystery.
So, all right, you have a busy 9 months coming up with a couple weeks laying low. What do you do in your downtime? Like, how will you relax? Will you go on vacation? I just told you,
man. I put license plates on, man. I don't know.
Well, that doesn't take a couple weeks, but maybe it does. Yeah. Maybe it does.
I mean, what else do you want me to accomplish? I mean, I'd like to think I do all this fun stuff and make up for my life, but I don't. I mean, I wind up doing, I think I get in a little bit better writing rhythm. I think I get in a little bit better like gym rhythm. Try to go see my dad every other day. My dad lives around, real close to me, my nephews, and, just kind of be around a little bit more. And I hit you think I would be away from comedy, but I hit the open mics. There's a couple in St. Louis, there's, both the Funny Bones. So I just go there, and it's somewhat of a social thing for me. But also like, I don't know, when did you record your thing?
I filmed it back in February.
Okay, so yeah.
I spent a couple months editing, and I'm shooting for a late summer, early fall release.
Okay.
I have 30 social media clips ready to go.
Good,
I'll be posting for 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
Trying to put together a whole game plan, which is a whole different world.
Yeah, so for me, like I filmed in October, and since then I just had some unproductive periods, but since then it's almost like two different jobs, like that last maybe year and a half when you're working on a new hour or putting out a special. It's a lot of polishing and a lot of, making the bit more specific, seeing if you can take a successful bit and extend it out a couple of minutes. And then you film, and then it's like, oh, I have to start over. And it's a shock. It feels like another job. It feels like, well, this isn't even the same job as that other thing I was doing. So I finally am at this point where I've got 20 minutes that have not been recorded, anywhere or, seen anywhere.
Yeah. And
that feels good because it's like, okay, now I got a foothold, and I'm excited about, how can we start to shape the next thing? So that's kind of a good time.
What is your writing process like? Like, not even after having just released a special. Like, do you
a lot of journaling,
like writing routine?
Yeah, journaling in the morning, and then
morning is such a great time.
Yeah, I can't do anything creative after noon, but yeah, journaling in the morning. A lot of listening to that's something I discovered really in my later years as a comic, is just listen to your act, and you start.
Yeah.
I talked to Brian Regan about that one time. He uses that a lot. Like, he's like, I mean, I just listen, and then you like, You think of stuff, you find, new angles for premises. How can I continue that? And then it's like you find something that doesn't even have anything to do with what you're listening to. It's a really, really valuable tool for me.
No, absolutely. And it was so funny you say that, because Brian and I have had that conversation. The last time I saw him was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and we talked about that exact night. And I record every single set.
Yeah, me too. Audio. Yeah.
I don't always listen to them, because sometimes you just go through the motions, or you're like,
I don't want. There's a couple shows I'm like, there's nothing to learn from that.
Absolutely. But I mean, every now and then you're like, oh, I said that differently, or I said something off the cuff, or how did I say that? And then you go back and it's like a game changer.
Yeah.
It has been very monumental. But it's funny when you record all your sets and then you don't listen to the last 30. You're like, I don't even remember what one I needed to go back and listen to.
Right.
So we're going to wind down here in a second, but I love asking my guests. This was one of my favorite questions to ask everybody, is I love getting a hell gig out of people.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you throw something at me that you can remember of a specific gig early in your career as a headliner, a private gig, doesn't matter, where it shook you to your core?
A while back in my career, I was in Erie, PA, and I had to follow this kid out of Philly. It was just garbage. This guy was, it was, I don't really remember his name, but it was garbage, man. The whole act was garbage. He was garbage off stage. And,
thank you. 70 comics in, finally somebody does that. I've kind of been waiting for that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Man, I mean, there's enough. I think one time, I don't remember all the specifics. It's one of my best friends. This is lady Lisa Grigsby. She had a club in Jokers in Dayton that I had mentioned, and Lisa, I don't think I'd been a comic without her. She gave me a lot of stage time, and she was the first person to give me a little bit of feature work. And it was a fun club, but it was not an easy club, especially to host. They did a lot of food, so people are eating. And then Lisa was the farthest thing from a purist when it came to a comedy club. Every gimmick she could think of, to keep that club open, because it was in a very small market that at the time was in the rust, belt where all these, car companies are going out of business and factories are shutting down, and Dayton has a lot of them. So she's trying to stay alive.
Foam fingers for birthdays, and we're gonna.
Oh, birthdays! She sold it was a lot of bachelorettes, and she had all the stuff for bachelorettes. So I remember this girl, the first girl that broke my heart, in college. This girl, God, she's just still beautiful. She was just beautiful. Cheryl. She was married, and I knew her husband, and it was that. That's part of my life was over. But they came to a show, and in Dayton, and I was like, oh, my ex-girlfriend, that I, was in love with and want to impress, is coming with her husband, and they're going to see me. And it's they're there, and it's a bachelorette in the front row, and they have the wind up, jumping penises, on the friggin' table, and the blow up penises, and all the, and it's just all about them. And I just eat it so hard in front of, there was no, even today, I'd probably be frustrated handling it. I'm not sure I could, but at that point I was ill-equipped to handle.
Yeah. You're ill-equipped is the great way to put it. The more you do it, the more you get at handling that situation, but it still sucks. And sometimes you're just defeated even being in the situation.
Yeah. I mean, I was done before it, even started.
You're babysitting.
Yeah. You're babysitting. And I didn't know. And I would get angry back then. I learned to not get angry, or at least get visibly angry.
Ooh, what was your anger like? Would you go after people?
Yeah. Say dumb things. And I just had that.
Do you know Joe Matarese?
Sure, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Joe's great. He's a very good buddy of mine. I love that he had a whole album just full of interactions with hecklers.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny.
Oh, yeah. He released a full album. I think it was 11 or 12 tracks of him just dealing with shit situations or awful people in the crowd.
I bet that was great. Yeah, Joe's
it was
good
so
comic,
fun,
man.
Oh, yeah. He's actually going to be on soon.
Oh,
we're texting a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's great.
And we're trying to get together and golf one day soon. We've been trying to plan that for years.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah. So, and I was like, and of course, it's not good to put too much pressure on any situation. I was like, I got to kill tonight, the Cheryl's in the show. I got to kill. And I did the opposite of that. So yeah, it was humiliating. Yeah.
I have a cousin. We're the same age, and he's seen me a bunch of times. Open mics, through hosting, through featuring.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever seen me headline, but like I swear to God, I don't think he's ever seen me have a great set, and I feel like he thinks I've been floundering for 2 decades.
Yeah, man. There's those guys that just
and it's like, man, I swear to God, like when I get on a plane for the weekend, it goes well for the most part, but he's always caught me on these weird
they don't buy it.
shows where it doesn't go well, and I carry that with me every day.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can see it on your face, man. It's rough.
Yeah. All right, man. Plug all your socials here for us.
Well, I guess G Rock Warren is my Instagram handle. That's probably the only meaningful one. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Dude, thank you for being here and you're sharing your story, man. I love hearing about the early days in people's career and everything. Brand new special called The Salesman. Make sure you check that out. Everybody, Greg Warren. Thanks for being here,
great
man.
Talking to you, Pat.
Thanks, man. Thank you.